right, this is the Committee on Community and Business Development. This is Monday, March 28, 2016, we're at 6 p.m. I have Councilor DeFlorio. Here. I have Councilor Napolitano.
Here.
Councilor Capone.
Here.
And I have Councilor Spinelli. We have 4 members present, we do have a quorum.
We do have a quorum. Please stand and salute the flag. Clerk, please read the first item on the agenda, the only item.
All right, just order. Offered by Councilor John Healan as president, that a petition for a lodging house license for David A. Morley, doing business as Venus at 336 Broadway.
Council Capone?
Thank you, Madam Chairman. Do we have the petitioner in the audience?
I believe we
Okay.
do.
Could we please have the petitioner before us?
Could we please have the petition in front of us? All in favor? All opposed? The ayes have it. Please state your name and address for the record.
I'm Attorney David Molly. I own the property at 336 Broadway.
My name is Anthony Damasi. I manage the property at 336 Broadway.
Council Capone?
Thank you, Madam Chairman. Thank you, gentlemen, for being here. I think, do we have, through the chair, do we have folks that are in opposition as well? Okay. So why don't we address what we think the concerns are, and then if it's all right, we'll have maybe the residents or whoever's in opposition come up and speak?
Sure.
Okay. So we're looking at a police report. I don't know if you've seen it or not. You may not have. Let me,
I've seen it.
okay.
I
There's
don't have
one.
one with me, but I have seen it.
Okay, there's one whole page of calls.
Going back to last July and August.
Last one was September.
Okay.
What happened was, last year when we were here, I made a point that I have a couple of tenants that Veterans Services in Boston asked me to place. They want to get the veterans off the street. And I used to work with them all the time when I owned the property down at Ferry Street. I said, no problem. As soon as they got in there, it wasn't with drugs or alcohol, they just had problems. And I said to call them veterans, and I said, I just had a meeting with the alderman, and I have no choice, but I have to evict these two people. And they said, well, I'll come down and we'll get them. All right, well, it never happened. What I heard was that a lot of the tenants watched the meeting on TV and heard that there were any more police calls and problems, that I'd have no lodging house license. So I ended up serving them, and as soon as I served them, this is what I got. Every day there was another problem. Every day, they ended up calling the cops most of the time. You'll see one of the instances which says, one of the tenants called the police because he was being evicted. Well, I mean, I had no choice. There's 14 rooms down there. I'd say 10, 11, or 12 of them are all Everett residents. So what I try to do is try to keep the people that need housing in Everett in these buildings. I think I have one tenant that's been with me for 10 years, and he's from Tennessee, and he's probably one of my best tenants.
Actually, it's from Philadelphia.
Yeah.
Sorry about
So,
The only concern I have is, we've got this list, and it just breaks it down from January 1st through December 9th of 2015. And on our sheet, it doesn't give us a time frame as where it is. So I don't know if this is older stuff. You were saying that the last
Yes, the
issue
very
was-
last police call to that building should have been in September of 2015. That was the very last.
we had a couple of
Once
calls
we
for
evicted them.
medicals, but nothing for what we went
Right.
through last
The
summer.
rest, a
Okay.
lot of them are medical, and Mr. Capone, some of them don't even have anything to do with the building.
Right.
Don't forget, they just use 336 as a landline.
But
when they're
once I went through
pulling
the
people
process of
over.
evicting these, Veteran Services came down and I had to go through the process of getting a court date, and they said, if they get evicted, there's no way that we can give them housing. I said, well, you go tell them that.
Yeah.
And that's
Hopefully you
when
get the response you want.
Yeah,
right?
but it took 2.5 to 3 months for them to finally get out of there, and that's what we dealt with. But since that time, I think we had one incident. It's not like there's it's not like years ago where you had drugs and alcohol, it was rampant in these, it's not like that anymore. But we did have one instance with a tenant. One of the other tenants said he came home intoxicated, and we went down there very nicely, asked him to leave that day, which he did, called the police, and the police backed Anthony and I up and said, you have to leave, which doesn't happen that often.
Yeah, this was a few weeks ago,
You
actually.
know, doesn't happen that often.
Okay. The ones that concern me are disturbances, assault and batteries,
Yeah.
fight, disturbance, drunk person. Those are the ones that cause me concern. Again, without dates on them, I really don't have a good gauge on where you're at
Yeah.
in terms of responding to this body, responding to the neighborhood.
Right.
So as far as questions go, I'm all set at this particular point in time. I'll open it for my colleagues, but after these gentlemen are done, I would very much like to hear what the neighborhood has to say, give you another opportunity to come back
Absolutely.
and address that,
Yeah.
and then figure out what the best thing to do is from there, Madam Chairman, if
Okay.
you think that's a good way to go.
Very good. Thank you, Counsel. Counsel Napolitano?
Thank you. All right, now, I do understand going through the list of things. You said the last couple, was it the last issue was in September?
Was in September of 2000. That was the very last police call for an
The
actual
police
police that I
disturbance.
disturbance.
have has the actual names of the people on the police list.
Yeah, with the location histories that I got.
The thing that's important to understand, though, where we're coming from, is that out of 44 reports, 19 of them are disturbances or assault and batteries. So that's better than almost, that's less, just under, but it's almost 50% of the calls coming out of there are of this kind of nature.
That had to do with those.
And
two
Mr.
little-
Napolitano, if I
But
should say
The
something,
point I want to make
excuse
is
me.
that by proportionate to the rest of the city, it's a very disproportionate amount of calls. Now,
A lot of them don't have anything to do with the building, though, don't forget.
a general disturbance and a assault and battery, I
Those
mean,
are
these
those
are all.
But this don't
Those are those
necessarily
two-
mean they're tenants. They might be someone fighting at the bus stop, don't forget. We
Those
have a
two-
bus stop with a
those-
lot of problems right
Those two
there.
tenants,
And I think these people can
those two tenants.
vouch as well.
those two tenants made it a point to constantly call the cops, even if they were fighting with each other or whatever.
And they're gone now?
They're gone.
Yeah,
They're gone.
everyone's
September
gone.
1st, they were out of there.
Like I pointed out, Mr. Napolitano, we haven't had a police call to that
Since
building for
September.
disturbance since September.
Well, we don't have any information beyond December 9th.
Yeah.
Right.
So the thing is, if
The rest
if
of them
that, if
medical-
there are or not, we wouldn't have that information.
Right, there
I
isn't.
did get the new one up until the end of February,
February.
and that's why I knew there were no other calls on it.
All right, thank you.
And my thing now is whether it's lawful or not, and if they're listening, if you make a mistake, you're gonna be gone, whether it's legal or not.
All right, thank you.
Okay.
Councilors, from the chair. Do you have tents in the backyard?
Tents?
Yes.
No.
No.
You don't have any
Down on
tents?
Broadway?
Yes.
No. I can assure you, one time, that was a time, when I was going down there one morning, my nephews had the tent, I went in the backyard that on the spot and made them take it down.
What was it for?
Okay.
I have no idea. This was a tent my nephew
Last year.
had during the summer. That was one day, I made him take it down on the spot. I stood there and helped them.
Okay. Gentlemen, you have to realize that we're being very, very careful. We do have a school across the street.
And and
Children
that's,
shouldn't have to see assault and battery. Children
No.
shouldn't have to see.
I
any of
agree
it.
with ya.
Nobody should,
one
but
of the things
especially
we
children.
do
So,
is, if we get a new tenant, I do look that tenant up on the sex registry board, just to make sure not
Yeah.
put anybody across the school
The
that has a
school.
problem.
okay.
And as far as someone with a felony, 10 years ago, I would have said that I would never rent to someone with a felony. Well, my son has a felony. He had a drug problem back 10 years ago. He got, even with me as a lawyer, I couldn't stop him from getting a felony. Not that there's anything wrong with them, but that sort of changed my perspective on dealing with a person with
But
a
you have to
felony.
understand our concerns, why
Oh,
we're being so
absolutely.
concerned.
Yeah.
Thank you. Thank you, gentlemen.
That's
Any
my
other
concern
questions?
too, the school. That's
Yeah.
why I stay there, you know. a
Any
good
other
amount.
questions?
No, excuse me, Councilman.
Excuse with the customary thanks.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you.
And if we could have,
Madam Chairman, I know we have Mr. Anthony Delicano and Paul De Oliveira, if they're in the audience. If we could please have them before.
sure, could you please come before us? And please speak into the mic and state your name and address, please.
My name is Paulo de Oliveira, 332 Broadway, Everett, Mass.
Counsel Capone?
Thank you, Madam Chairman. Thank you for being up here, Mr. De Oliveira. I see your address, 332, you're right there. Could you just give, well, you heard what was said, you heard what our concerns are. What has been your experience as a neighbor in the area of what's happening or not happening?
The worst as I can say, it's fighting is, I'm not gonna say every day, but at least twice a week. As you can see the report, in 52 weeks, we had 44 police calls. And believe me or not, I didn't call twice. And all the fights is inside of the building, inside of the property. There's no fight outside. And besides that, they sit down in my sidewalk, in my porch, nearby my porch. They smoke, they drink, they leave all the trash over there. I have to go and pick up. Plus all the curses, all the bad words they spell all day long with the kids outside on the school. I have a 15 years old, and he don't want to hear that too. I was just telling that gentleman, like 6 weeks ago, they throw a baseball ball in my window. You can go over there and see the big hole in my kid's room. This ball could break the both windows and hit my son inside of the house. And last year, a police officer came because there was a fighting over there. And one of those was fighting, has a knife that size. And he came to open the door to try to get inside of the building. And I was over the window, and I told him, don't go inside because he has a knife. And he backed up, called for the backup, and he got inside of the building with a gun in his hands. This guy who's a police officer, he was in Vietnam. I believe he's from Azores or Cape Verdean. I can't remember his name, but he gave me his name that time. And I spoke like 2 months ago with a detective over here in Everett, and he told me, if I need to go to Everett City Hall, I will, to say, myself, I don't want this house over here.
Okay. With the baseball incident, how long ago was that?
It's like 6 weeks ago.
Six?
6 weeks ago.
6 weeks ago.
Uh-huh.
And are you sure it came from that
Exactly,
property?
that's the only way. The windows.
Where is that window
The
located on your
window
property?
is in front of the middle of the lands.
Okay. Are you the house right next door?
Exactly.
With the enclosed porch?
Exactly, the brick one.
Okay. From the front of the house, where is that window you're talking about?
1, 2, 3, 4, the 60 window.
So towards the backyard?
Exactly.
Okay. And that was about
There
6
is
weeks
no,
ago?
Exactly. There's no chance a ball can come from the other place because the next door is a bank.
Right. And you heard the petitioners mention that it's been relatively quiet since September. Does that ring with your memory, or is there something else going on there? When's the last time you can remember any kind of a large disturbance?
I work until 2 o'clock in the morning.
Okay.
And as I was telling you, I believe I made 1 phone call or 2 phone calls last year because I was on Saturdays, my day off. But most of the time I get home like 2:30 in the morning.
Okay.
I cannot state if they're still doing the same thing or not.
Right. Okay. So you're gone when this is happening. You just know about the baseball, but
Exactly.
you really can't speak to anything that's going on recently.
Right now.
Okay.
I'm in this job for the last 5 months, and in the last 5 months I cannot speak about.
Okay.
But before, I can speak about.
Okay. All right. Thank you. I don't have any other questions. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Madam Chairman, could we have Mr. Anthony Delicano in front of us if he's here?
Can it be both? He's my next door neighbor. I'm living 332 Broad in the first floor.
Sure, just state your name and address, please.
Okay. My name is Valdecidio Oliveira, 332 Broadway.
Antonio Delicano, 330 Broadway.
Is there anything that you heard the questions I was asking of your neighbor? You heard what was said here this evening. Is that your recollection? When's the last time there was any significant disturbance at the property that you're aware of?
I think I'm the most well qualified to talk about the situation because I live on the first floor.
Okay.
And I work at daytime. I leave at 5 o'clock in the morning and I get home 5 o'clock. So I'm home every single night. And to be honest, I'm living in Everett in the last 20 years. I do love Everett. Very central, very located, very tight community, and I like it. But last year, first time I was thinking to rent my home and move somewhere else because we feel so oppressed in this house with the neighbors we have. I have two kids, one 16 and one 12 years old. My kids cannot even play in a backyard because it's not safe. In the last 3 years, they break my fence 4 times. One time I called the police, I made the police report. The police officer was not very helpful. He told me I should go on a Home Depot and buy a set of fence and do myself a claim through my insurance. And he was not very helpful. And the last 3 times I spoke with the management from the house. He asked me for 2 weeks. He's gonna try to settle the situation. He's gonna fix the fence and told me you don't need to make a police report, nothing, I'll take care of that. I trust he will. 2 weeks after I looked for him, he just was swearing at me and say he don't gonna fix it. I should look for my rights, take to the court, he don't gonna do nothing, he don't know who did. I say, how come you don't know who did? There's people who live here in the house where you are the management, you don't have no control. And like now we sleep in a basement, me and my wife and my 2 kids, because we cannot sleep on the first floor because I'm very close to them. There's so much noise. They get home like at 2 o'clock, 4 o'clock in the morning with the car, loud music and drinking. And it's not safe. It's not safe. We're in the front of the school. We don't need this type of neighbor or business in Everett. This is a great city. We deserve something better than 336 Broadway, you know? Everett is a neighborhood family, you know. I want to raise my family here, but the situation is it's not safe, and we feel intimidated, we feel oppressed. But now I have enough. For 16 years, I took everything they throw at me, but now I have enough. I'm on my breaking point. I can't handle anymore.
So you lived at that property for 16 years?
Yes, I'm a co-owner with my brother, so as a 2 family, we own together. I live on the first floor, and he lives on the second floor. The second floor don't get too much disturbed because the second floor, but I'm living on the first. And my 3 bedrooms is in the same line as their driveway. And just to break my fence with a motor vehicle 4 times, and they refuse to fix, I don't feel safe let my kids play in the back because you know the type of people live over there, you know? I don't have to tell you, we all grow up in here, always smart, you know?
So where is your fence broken? How far down the property is it?
The first time they want to make the police report, I was in the back, you know, my backyard with the backyard. They broke the fence, they hit my central AC, was a little damage to the AC. I have the police report here.
How long ago was that?
This was October 2012. This is the first time.
Okay.
And after that, 3 more incidents, they broke my fence.
What were the dates on those? Do you know?
The last 2 times in the last winter.
Okay, last year?
Yeah.
All right. And is it the same section of fence in the back, or is it different locations?
Is the one section from the beginning to the end. It's been damaged in 4 different spots.
Okay.
One in the front, one in the second set the fence, one in the third, and one in the very back under my central AC.
Okay.
And they throw trash in my backyard, like a alcohol little shots bottle. They sit on my front porch 2 o'clock in the morning, talk and laugh, and we go there to ask them to leave. They leave, but I already woke up all the kids. The kids have to school next morning.
Sure. When was the last time that they sat on your porch?
Every morning, every weekend morning, Saturday and Sundays.
This past weekend, or?
Week before,
Okay, so a couple of weeks ago?
yes.
And how about trash in the backyard? How frequent is that?
Trash in the backyard is much better now. But before it was the worst, like every day. But now I don't remember when they throw us the last time. But in the front yard is every day.
Okay, so the backyard's been a while. It's the
Yes.
front of the house that seems to be more of a problem.
Every day. Every day my kids have to go there and clean it. Dunkin' Donuts carpets, little shots, alcohol, and everything.
Okay. And then in terms of loud disturbances, noises, need for police to come to the property, when's the last time you can remember? Does September
Last
sound
weekend,
accurate?
The police did not come, but every weekend, like at 2 o'clock, 3 o'clock, 4 o'clock, they come laughing, scream at each other, profane language, and wake up everybody, you know?
Yeah. Are they going into the property and it's done, or do they hang around outside?
They go in the
or-
property, hang in the back, you know, because there's a Porsche in the back. They hang it over there, talk, and wake up everybody.
Okay. All right. And so I think you were saying that's as frequent as last weekend?
Yes.
Okay.
And to be honest to you, I even don't feel comfortable to call the police anymore. Like, when we call, we say 336 Broadway. I don't know what's the standard in all the police department, but there, I believe it's taking too long, 3, 4, 5 minutes. Last year, I made a call. They have a big fist fight over there. I called the police, and me and my sons on the phone, and the police want to know my name, where I call them from, the address, if I know how many people's in a fight, and all this stuff, you know.
Yeah.
And later they knock on our door, you know, like, it's intimidation, you know.
Okay. Thank you very much for your input. I'll hold off on questions for Mr. De Oliveira afterwards.
Take it.
But Delicano.
Okay.
Okay. If we could hear from Mr. Delicano. that would be
Yes, my neighbor, 16 years there. Mine is a 31, which I'm put up with, say, the only thing, he's a night, for me, is during the day. I have people sit on the stairs with the testicle hanging on the step, no clothing on. People walking with the cane, half a nigger, with
Now,
no
Are
shirt.
you the property on the corner?
Yes, I am.
Gladstone and Broadway?
Yes.
Okay. Sorry.
It's all right. So a customer tried to come in and they sees that kind of picture, okay, they change their mind. If they don't sit on my stairs, they hang around in front of my stairs, talking loud. God forbid they have a phone in their hand. You can hear it from Everett Square, the way they're talking on the phone, because they got a free phone. They can talk all day long, but not in front of my store.
I'm sorry. We gave you excuse me, we gave you the courtesy to speak before the judge was very quiet.
Yes.
Please give them the same courtesy. Thank you.
Okay.
Hey, please,
They'll have an opportunity to come back up, Madam
you
Chairman.
have the opportunity to come back, okay? So please. No, you're good. Thank
Okay.
you. I'm sorry to interrupt you.
Sorry, Counsel Capone.
If you would, please continue. You were
Okay.
saying?
So I called a few times at the police station. Few times because I was cleaning my backyard, and they told me they don't do condoms. Sorry. So I said, this kind of hang around at night, too. No place to go, they go in my backyard. This last year, 2 years ago, 3 years ago, I hear, you have the police report just for 2015. I'm wonder what happened to the rest? 14, 15, 13.
Yeah.
They had a fight on the street in front of my store almost every day, during the day. So look like a zoo.
And are you sure these folks that are sitting on the stairs or in front of the building, are they from the property?
Of course,
Okay. You recognize them from seeing them?
one by one.
Okay. And when would you say the last time the police had to come to the property, or the last time there was a disturbance?
Well, I called last year, I give up, I don't call the station anymore.
Okay.
Because we have not real an answer. Unless the city's gonna install cameras so they can tell what's going on around the corner. They can tell what's going on my stairs.
When was the last time someone was sitting on your stairs or in front of the property or creating noise?
Last September, August, June, July,
Okay.
May,
So when's the most recent time?
the
Is
recent
September recent, or is it beyond that?
September reason.
Okay, so from September to now, it's been okay?
When it's a nice day, I got them right there.
Okay.
The people they are there,
Okay, so it still happens, but not as frequently?
right.
Okay. All right, I don't have any other questions. Thank you very much.
The questions? Thank you, sir, with the customary thanks.
Could we please have the petitions before us again?
If we could please have the petitioners before us again.
I'm aware of the fence.
Counsel.
Makes sense.
Okay, thank you, Madam Chairman.
I'm aware of the fence.
Okay, what's the issue with the fence? Do
Well,
you, do we acknowledge that the
Yeah,
fence is from?
a-
okay.
Absolutely, absolutely.
Okay.
What happened there was Paul's towing went in to pull a car out that was abandoned in the driveway, and he hit the fence. And I think Anthony, I don't know who.
Yeah, he knows that. He-
Okay.
I already told
Skip
him.
over that.
I think he told me
knows
And I just told the other gentleman that I called Paul's Towing, and I told him what happened, and he said, have the gentleman call me, and we'll put an insurance claim and have the fence fixed. And I just told him right now, if you don't wanna do that, and if you have an issue with the fence, I'll fix it.
Okay,
I'll
so,
fix the fence.
so Paul's Towing said that they would
That's
process
what
it?
they told me. They said, if my driver hit that fence, have him call me,
Okay.
and we'll put a claim in.
Okay, and if you recall him hearing, he had mentioned that it's several sections of fence. Do you
Yeah,
do you
this-
agree with several
absolute-
sections or no?
Yeah,
Okay.
it's so close to the driveway that if somebody parks in there, 9 times out of 10, they might hit the pole.
Is all of that from the tow company, or
No,
is that?
the serious one was from the tow company. I
Okay.
think he wiped out 2 poles. when he
Okay.
first. The other ones are little scratches and dings and things like that.
And how long ago were those? He was saying
Over
it's
the
been a
last
while.
over the last 3 years.
Okay, so the fence is something you're willing to
Yeah,
resolve?
absolutely.
Okay, well, that's
And the
good.
oth-
Good.
go ahead. And the other thing I want to address is, and they were talking about tenants sitting on their porch, but my tenants, believe it or not, when they take the bus, we have like an alcove where everybody sits, and it's not just my
Yeah.
tenants.
Yeah.
We go there
That's
sometimes,
false
there's-
statements,
we go
because
there
I sit there, you
sometimes,
see me
Wait
sitting
a minute.
there.
we go there sometimes, and you have all kinds of people standing.
There's all
under my
kinds of
building
people
'cause it's got a
sitting,
cover
yeah,
on it.
that's a
Becomes a
bus
congregation.
stop.
I know what they're going through.
Yeah.
but
He
it's
gave
not-
false
it's not
statements.
my-
It
it's
has
not-
nothing to do with the tenants.
It's not,
I'm
it's
sorry.
not my.
What
Yeah.
about the baseball? I
I
forgot
just
to ask
heard-
if
I
the
just-
window was.
We're just hearing this just now.
I just heard this.
Okay,
I have 7 women living in the building now, so, and that's why I'm saying, who's throwing a
Yeah.
baseball in the
Okay.
yard?
okay. All right, so it sounds like most of the, at least from what I heard, it sounds like most of the activity has subsided. There is, from some of the neighbors saying, there is still some stuff that's going on at different hours. Whether or not it's coming from the building, we're not entirely sure.
Right.
Neighborhood seems to think that it is.
Well, I have a lady manager now, her name is Maggie, and she said there's really, everybody in that building works. So it's like, everybody interacts, but she doesn't see anybody in the yard drinking or,
Yeah,
you
that-
don't have the drunk, you don't
I
have
don't
the
buy
drunks like
that.
they had 10 years ago. You know, it's not a really big thing like it was then.
And clearly, you've got
You know?
a lot of things going on. Our chairperson had mentioned the school across the street.
Absolutely.
You've got the neighbors, even if the school wasn't there.
Yeah.
This is your particular property that we're talking
I've
about.
owned this for 40 years.
Yeah, it could be anyone's property,
Yeah.
but we're talking about this one. And the whole idea is we just want everyone to be good neighbors.
Right.
You know, that's all we're asking. You're asking the same of your neighbors, they're asking the same of
Right.
you.
And I'll give them my telephone number if there's a problem. You call me, and I'll deal with it. And I'm hoping that doesn't happen,
Okay.
you know? I'm on top of these things, but like the baseball, this is the first I'm hearing of.
Yeah, that's the first we've heard
And we
about
said,
it.
I don't even know anybody that can throw a ball in the
Ball,
house, to be
yeah.
honest with ya.
Okay.
And as far as the people sitting on, they don't have anything to do with, because you see me. I am there at that building every morning, 5:30, 6 o'clock in the morning. I sit in my red pickup truck, and I could sit there all day. And believe me, if there was tenants from my building sitting on their porch, I would be the first to say something. They're just random people that sit at the bus stop.
Okay.
And the
That's
same
all
thing-
it is. We get the same thing on our
too.
building.
And I don't
And all the
honestly,
trash,
if it's raining out, I
I'm
don't
constantly
bother them.
picking it
You know,
up,
where
because
they
it's
gonna
them
stand?
leaving it there, Dunkin'
Okay.
Donuts,
Life's too short.
cups on the window sills.
Okay.
You could drive by every day and see it with your own eyes.
Okay.
They have nothing to do with tenants from our building
Well,
going and partying in
I'm
their
glad to hear
backyard.
that you're making efforts. I'm glad to hear that you're willing to address the fence.
Absolutely.
And I don't have any other questions right now. I'll recuse the floor to my colleagues.
Thank you. Any other questions? Because I do have some. Okay. First of all, do you have cameras on your buildings?
I did have cameras, they're disconnected right now.
They're disconnected.
Because I
Okay.
don't have a Wi-Fi
So my,
system taken.
okay. so
There are
my
cameras across
recommendation
the
is
street
that-
on the school.
Wait a minute.
My recommendation is that we put cameras around your buildings,
Mm-hmm.
okay? The other thing is, when is the manager there? What time are you there from? What are
Well,
your
I have-
hours?
I have a woman manager that's on the premises. But
Okay.
he's like, he takes care of Linden Street as well as Broadway. So he's
So
there-
he's not always on Broadway all day?
No, but the manager of the building is in the premises.
She lives there?
Right, she lives there. And he
And she-
oversees everything. He comes down and gets the mail.
She doesn't work?
No, she doesn't work. She's disabled.
Okay, so, the point I'm trying to make is, I understand, anybody could stand at a bus stop and think it's your
Yeah.
tenant, and we don't want to be unfair.
Right.
That's
But at the
right.
same time, if you had cameras,
Yeah, absolutely.
then we would know if it was your
Yeah.
tenant or not, or
But
you
I-
would know if it was
I
your
go-
tenant or not.
But I do, because I go down that building every single, even on Sundays. These people can tell you.
That's his
They
routine.
can tell you, I'm there even on Sunday.
I understand, but
At
I was just told
5:30,
that you
6
do
o'clock in
Linden,
the mo-
I was just told that you do Linden Street and Broadway, so obviously you
Yes.
can't be there 24 hours a day.
Exactly.
And I don't
Right.
expect you to be there 24
Right.
hours a day.
But I'm there a good amount of time at Broadway. I am there a good amount of
We do have a
time.
woman that's there 24/7.
Okay, but the thing, what I'm trying to
And she
say
said
is,
since September, it's like
Yeah.
a ghost town in that house. That's what she told me.
okay,
I spoke
we're
with her
we're
too.
getting mixed stories here,
I know,
all
I
right?
know.
Yeah.
And we're not there, I don't know if it's
I
your
know.
tenant at the
I
bus
mean,
stop.
you
or
drive
if
by
it's
there
somebody
every
else.
single day and
I
see
don't-
me
I don't-
there.
I don't-
Sir,
Every
I don't
day.
live there as well, but this is what she told me today.
I really would like to see you get those cameras out.
Okay.
Okay, because right now, I'm gonna vote no, I'm telling you right now.
Yeah.
Okay, so that's my opinion. But anyways, if there are no further questions, I think Council Napolitano has a statement before we excuse you, or should I excuse them first?
Well, I would just like to find out what's gone on since December. I mean, first of all, you know, the neighborhood has made some comments that some things are still continuing. The ownership here has mentioned that there hasn't been, you know, and here it is now, the end of March. I'd like to know what's gone on for the last 4 months. If there have been no police reports, then that gives them some credibility. If there are no police reports because the neighborhood is tired of calling, I would strongly suggest to the neighborhood to not cease calling, because that's the reason why we have 44 reports here, is because we're aware of the issue. So if you're having problems and you're not calling because you're getting fed up with it, don't think for a minute that the city or the police can't do anything. Without reports, there's no issue that we can address, that we can connect it up. So it's in your best interest as the neighbors, if the problems are still persisting, to let the city know, call it in. Don't be afraid to call in the police, because that's how we track these information. But if there hasn't been any complaints since September, we need to weigh that in as well,
Correct.
in fairness to everybody.
Correct.
You know, I myself live next to a social club that for the last 15 years, I can swap stories with the neighbors and the owners here of equal issues and equal stress. But problems do get resolved, and I would just advise, getting upset and using an accusational tone is not going to resolve issues in the neighborhood. It's just going to further frustrate and aggravate people. So I would just suggest that if you disagree with the statement made by the neighbors, have a quiet, have a conversation with them to identify where you two are disconnecting.
Okay.
Because, I mean, I'm talking on both parties.
Right.
Because again,
Thank you.
communication is going to resolve this
Yeah.
issue.
Thank you.
Now, I'm willing to revisit this if you want to get the up-to-date police reports in the next 2 months.
I
or
would like
something.
to see that. I would put that in the form of a
I should
motion.
have brought them with me. I'm
Excuse-
willing,
So the form of the motion is to get the, okay,
Before we
I'm
do
sorry,
that,
go
though,
ahead,
can we
Council.
excuse with customary thanks?
Excuse
Yes.
because, thank you, gentlemen,
Okay.
for appearing.
Thank you, gentlemen.
all right, thank you.
Yes, I would like to see a copy of that. I'd like to be able to identify whether that the calls have ceased or diminished, or if they're continuing. Because that's a valuable piece of the puzzle here. We only have till December.
Okay.
I would second that. Before we go any further on that, though, could we have the Assistant City Clerk?
Sure,
before
can we
us?
please invite the Assistant City Clerk up?
Thank you, Madam Chairman. Thank you, Sergio. Mr. Assistant Clerk.
It's okay.
You've heard, you were here for a little while, you've
Yes.
heard what the concerns are. We don't want to deprive these gentlemen the opportunity to continue utilizing the property, but at the same time, we want to make sure that whatever we're being told, the assertions that are being made are accurate. What are our options with regards to the license? I know we've heard all kinds of things in the past. You can issue a 30-day, a 90-day.
Right.
What's the process?
I'm going to tell, first of all, when I first started in October, I decided when I saw the lodging houses to make sure that we got police reports immediately. So I issued that in December. That's why the report is from back in December, because that's when I start sending out the licenses to the lodging houses. And that's why it's a little dated, because that's when I started, and I wanted to see how it was, and I presented it to the council at the time in preparation for them to start rolling in. This is our last one to come in.
Okay.
So that's why it's a little late. And I will work with the police department, I believe it's Melissa, the crime analyst, and she'll present that. And when I have it, I'll put it in your mailboxes, or I can mail it to you, whatever you like. So I think the process is, with all licenses, is that they're issued for a year, no matter what. You issue them, and what you have the authority as the licensing power is to bring them before you on a 90-day or 120 days or whatever you like. So you want to do 3 months, 6 months, come back, you'll have that new police report, bring them before you, say, okay, well, you know what, for the last 6 months you have been good. This is looking good. Or, you know what, these are the issues that are continuing, and what are you going to do to rectify it? That's how I would do it, and that's, I mean, what the clerk and I had discussed over the past few weeks. So I would recommend that if you're going to pass it, when it comes back to the city council, that you do it. You always pass it. It's passed for the year, but you can always bring them back. You always have the authority to revoke, to put limitations. That's your authority as the licensing power.
Okay.
I work for you, and that comes through me, and I issue the revocation if you ever need that.
Okay. And with regards to the police report that we have here, to the best of your recollection, do you know what the last call was on this one? or
No, see, that's the other issue I had with those, and we're going to talk to Melissa and see if they can give us the more
A column
detailed
with the
report with the dates.
That
They
would be
didn't
very
on
helpful.
that, and
Okay.
and I think that's
Thank
what
you
we
very
want to
much
look
for the
at.
clarification.
You're
I don't
welcome.
have any further questions of our assistant clerk.
Palatano, did you have your hand up?
No, I did not.
Oh, you did, I'm
good.
sorry.
No, it's all
Okay,
right.
so we're all set.
We'll excuse customary thanks.
Thank you.
Thank you. Excuse the
Thank you very
customary
much.
thanks. So as of right now, I have a motion and a second on the table. The motion is to have an updated police report from September to March. Is that correct?
To the present.
If I could,
Yeah, it's-
yeah, that's what I was going to say. Yeah, absolutely. If I could amend that, because I think right now, if we don't issue a license, I don't think they can operate, which, you know, we don't want to do that. But my recommendation would be, and I'll leave it up to my colleagues to see what they think, but I recommend that you issue the license. We look to have a review in 90 days. As conditions on the license, we have that the cameras will be connected and operational, that the on-site manager's name and phone number would be made available to the neighbors so they get more immediate reaction. And I'd like to get an up-to-date police report with a breakdown on the dates of any visits to the property from over the past year, if we can get dates on this list, and if we could get a report as close to the review period, the 90-day review period as possible. That's what I would like to do.
That'll be approximately June?
Let's
Or
see,
do we have to
March,
give 'em a
April,
date,
May,
or-
June. Well, we could,
June?
yeah, sometime in June.
For September to June.
And if we could just get the dates on this existing police report, so we know what we're looking at, because if it does in fact turn out that this is all pre-September of 2015, and it's quiet going forward, then that might help alleviate some of the concerns. But if it turns out that these things are well after September, and we continue to have issues, then we'll have to decide what to do at that point. But I don't want to, and the other thing is that fence issue be resolved. That's the way I would recommend that we grant the license with those conditions.
Okay,
And a 90-day
but the
review.
petitions do have to understand that within 90 days, if problems do help, we can still call them back and revoke it.
Correct.
Is that correct? Okay,
Correct.
thank you, Counselor. So the motion is to have an updated police report from September to June, and to make sure the fence problem gets taken care of, and to have working cameras. Is,
And then the on-site manager's
On the
name and number
on-site.
be made available, and that we review it in 90 days.
and we review it in 90 days. So the manager, really, the manager's phone number really should be on the building, isn't that correct? If you have like a certain amount of units, you have to have it in the front hall?
Yeah, they actually could put any contact number, but I'm thinking if the neighbors want immediate address as opposed to calling and then having it bounce around, but they can do whatever. But I just think that it may be better to have the on-site manager available.
On-site manager
And
available?
that way they can just address it immediately.
Okay, so I have that motion, and I have a second. All in favor?
All right?
All opposed? The ayes have it.
So make that a recommendation to the general body. Thank you, Madam Chairman. I think that's the only motion. Move to adjourn.
We have a motion to adjourn. Do we have a second? All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? The ayes have it. We have adjourned.
Thank you.